morning, wrestling fans. Today is Friday, February 2nd, 2024. Lance Brock here on Groundhog Day, actually. This Friday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans, TGIF. Hope everyone is having a great Friday so far. Since I did not, unfortunately, record a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic last night, this morning on GMWF, real quick, I'm going to go over last night's TNA Impact on Spike, wow, I really went back in time with that mistake right there. So let me rewind and start over. TNA Impact. Okay, take 3. TNA Impact on Access TV last night, which was the first episode to air from the tapings from TNA's old stopping grounds, Orlando, Florida. Our commentators for the evening, Tom Hannafin and the Drama King, Matthew Rehwoldt. And we had the wanted man, Nick Nemeth, in action, taking on, last week it was Zachary Wentz, and this week he was in action against the other half of the Rascals, Trey Miguel. Nemeth getting the win, defeating Trey Miguel. Pretty good match here. I know he's only 2 matches into his TNA run, and I know it's early, but so far I definitely am impressed, and I'm definitely, optimistic that he is going to have a really good run here in TNA. And Knockouts tag team action, we have DK, Rosemary, and Havoc defeating Mila Moore and Savannah Thorne. Representing the system, the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers, going one-on-one with Kevin Knight, which this one was actually a pretty decent match. It's Myers getting the win. Big fan of Kevin Knight, though. His work in TNA has been impressive, and also his work in NJPW Strong as well. I definitely see a bright future for Kevin Knight. And next up, we get a heel promo from Diener, and that is interrupted by the French-Canadian Frankenstein, PCO. They come out, and this begins a match. PCO defeating Diener, and also during his heel promo, Diener announced, now I can't think of the name for some reason, the faction that, why can't I think of it now? I don't know why. But he announced that they were dead. For some reason, I can think of everybody in it. Diener, Eric Young, Khan, Sami Callihan at one time, but for some reason, I don't know why, but it just won't pop into my head for some reason. Cannot think of the name of it. I have no idea why. Also, Masha Slamovich defeated Jody Brett. And in the first match of the best of 3 series for the TNA World Tag Team Championships, the Grizzled Young Vets defeated ABC, which this first one was a really good match, which I expected. Some good tag team wrestling. But it's the heels coming out on top. I definitely would not be surprised if we see ABC get the second win and causing a third match in the series. I do not see a clean sweep happening. But really good match though. And also last night on Impact, we had some behind the scenes footage of Jordynne Grace making her appearance in the Royal Rumble this past Saturday night, which I thought was a really good video. And obviously, I'm sure they got permission from WWE, but they did show just a tiny little bit of highlights of the Rumble match when she came in. And I think more longer video is available on TNA's social media if you want to go check that out. But definitely good to see. And I saw yesterday that Natalya Neidhart actually made some comments about that she would face Jordynne Grace in TNA. But the question is, would that actually be something that we could see happen? And at one time, I'm sure most people would probably say not a chance. But now, with what has happened the last couple years or so, WWE actually working with TNA a little bit, Mickie James and Jordynne Grace going into the Women's Royal Rumble, both as the Knockouts champion. Now you never know. So, like they say in pro wrestling, never say never. You never know, one day it could happen. And like I said, I would love to see WWE and TNA work out a deal for AJ Styles to possibly go into the TNA Hall of Fame. Yes, it may be a little soon for him to go into the WWE Hall of Fame, but TNA Hall of Fame, if anybody deserves to be in the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame, is definitely the phenomenal AJ Styles. And that is all for this Friday morning episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to the podcast this morning. I might have an episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic tonight. Like I always say, I might, not promising anything, but who knows, talking about tonight's WWE Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage, so stay tuned just in case. Like I always say, the best way to keep up with new episodes from 360 Wrestling Podcast is to follow on X at 360 Wrestling Pod, or is it Twitter? Whatever it's called these days, at 360 Wrestling Pod, because as soon as there's a new episode posted, it is posted there. So that is the best way to keep up. Also, remember, in the comment section, either right here on Spreaker, YouTube, or wherever you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcast, leave your feedback on last night's episode of TNA Impact. If you watched New Japan on Access TV, also Ring of Honor on Honor Club, leave your opinions. And I will talk to everyone tomorrow morning for GMWF. But until then, have a great pro wrestling day.